What's up guys, today's video is on the top 3 best budget cameras in 2024. Through extensive research and testing I've put together a list of options that'll meet the needs of different types of buyers, so whether it's price, performance or its particular use, we've got you covered. For more information on the products, I've included links in the description box down below which are updated for the best prices. Now let's get started. Number 3. Nikon D3500. It's now over 3 years old, but the Nikon D3500 remains the best DSLR around for beginners looking to embrace creative, manual photography with a traditional setup. Built around a solid core of great image quality, intuitive menus, and a superb battery life, the D3500 now offers impressive value, too. Mirrorless rivals should also be considered, particularly if you need a touchscreen or 4K video. The Nikon D3500 might be well over 3 years old, but it remains our number 1 pick for the title of Best Beginner DSLR, and even faces up well against stiff competition for the best DSLR camera overall. Why so? While this is partly down to the lack of new competition, most manufacturers have now stopped making new DSLRs, it's also because the D3500 nails the basics in a way that few other cameras have managed. For starters, it delivers the 3 big advantages that DSLRs offer over their mirrorless alternatives: a superb battery life, great handling, and good value. The latter is partly because the D3500 has an optical viewfinder, unlike the EVFs found on mirrorless rivals, but also because its huge range of native lenses are no longer new enough to command high price tags. For that reason, the Nikon D3500 is one of the best cheap cameras you can buy. The D3500's 24.2 MP sensor produces impressive results, although you'll want to invest in some additional lenses to really see its potential. Number 2. Sony Alpha A6000. The Sony 6000 is mirrorless camera in lightweight and portable, with a 24.3 megapixel sensor that holds up surprisingly well against newer competition. While it can't shoot 4K video, and its autofocus isn't as snappy as newer Sony models, this is still a viable option for beginners or budget shooters, with a large ecosystem of compatible E-mount lenses. The Sony A6000 is decent for travel photography. It's portable and lightweight, making it easy to store and travel with. Image quality is good, too, thanks to its high-resolution sensor and good dynamic range, though it performs best in brighter conditions. Battery life is decent, though you may still need a spare battery or portable power bank for longer days on the go. Its autofocus system is relatively good, but its AF tracking isn't nearly as reliable as newer cameras. The Sony A6000 is good for landscape photography. It's very portable, making it easy to take on hikes or to remote shooting locations. The Sony A6000 is okay for sports and wildlife photography. Image quality is good overall, and it can shoot at a fairly quick max burst rate. The Sony A6000 isn't suitable for action video. It isn't designed to be mounted on action cam rigs or helmets, and it doesn't record in 4K. Plus, it can only record 1080p at up to 60 frames per second without any higher frame rate options for slow-motion recording. Number 1. Canon EOS Rebel T7. The Canon EOS Rebel T7 is an entry-level camera with an APS-C sensor and the cheapest model in Canon's DSLR lineup. It's an upgrade from its predecessor, the Canon EOS Rebel T6, with a high-resolution 24-megapixel sensor, but otherwise, that's not bad for those looking for a simple and affordable DSLR for photography. The Canon Rebel T7 is okay for travel photography. The camera captures good image quality overall, especially if you're coming from a smartphone. It's bulkier than mirrorless alternatives, and its autofocus system is very rudimentary. The Canon Rebel T7 is adequate for landscape photography. Its image quality pales compared to full-frame or higher-end APS-C cameras, but it's still very solid for its class. Though its dynamic range is unremarkable, you can still get great landscape shots out of it, especially with good lighting conditions. The camera is also fairly comfortable to use, with simple controls tailored towards beginner photographers, though more advanced shooters may find the lack of command dials limiting. The Canon Rebel T7 isn't well suited for sports and wildlife photography. It has a very slow burst rate, making it much harder to capture distinct images of fast-moving subjects, and its photo buffer isn't very deep, especially when shooting in RAW format. While the camera has a face tracking feature, it struggles to keep up with faster subjects and can't focus on the edges of the frame. Its plastic construction also doesn't feel as solid as more expensive models. On the upside, image quality is good for its class. Thanks for watching. Like the video and don't forget to subscribe.